If they're legit, sure, why not? I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Brett says great minds think alike. Absolutely. And I want to quick shout out, Michelle has joined us. So quite a few people have been in and out of the chat room tonight. So tonight's a busy night. Things are happening. All right, next thing we're going to move right along to. Are we done with that, Yom Kippur?
So, when was the last time you spent most of Yom Kippur, or much of Yom Kippur in a shul, if I may ask?
It's been a long time, Levi.
10 years? Longer?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Why?
Well, it is pretty unusual to spend Yom Kippur alone when you live in a Jewish neighborhood.
Hey, my whole life is spent alone. You know, this is where I'm at.
Do you like sucking on these little cherry things?
Alright, so let's talk about Sukkot. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, this coming up week is Sukkot. Sukkot is the holiday of the festival of huts, if you will. It's temporary dwellings, and people build these things, and you go outside and you sit in them. Is your place that you're going to be at have one of those?
Yes.
See, my place doesn't have that, so
Why don't you make yourself a sukkah?
I can't put one here.
Not on the roof?
No. So you want to talk about a holiday that I'm not part of? I'm not part of Sukkot. Because here's the sad situation.
But you can go over and use one in a shul, right?
I can go over and use somebody's, but here's the thing. I used to always go to people's houses to eat. And it gets old really, really fast. And I've been doing this too many years. See, Torah says, Torah is designed, Judaism is a religion for married people.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is for married people. It's not just the laws of being married or whatever.
Yeah.
But every single little thing is designed for married people. And Sukkot is no different than that. Sukkot is a time that you're with your spouse, and together you're going to have a meal inside this outdoor hut. Mm-hmm. So either there's one in your backyard or your front yard, or if you live in a place where you don't have one, then that forces you to go to somebody else's house or whatever, yeah. Right? And you go as a couple, and like you're all set, and then you do, you visit them, and then you get the hell out of there, right? But if you're not married and you don't have a place where there's a sukkah, now you're screwed, because the only place you can eat, right, and be part of that whole routine is in somebody else's house, and they're married, and they've got their kids, and now you come, and you're the older single loser guy sitting there, and everybody's like focused, because you're like the one guy, you stand out with a sore thumb, like, oh, why are you single? Why are you such a loser? And you got to sit there and listen to all these people, and then their kids are screaming and all this, and I can't do that anymore. I did that for years as a single guy at somebody else's house, whether it's sukkah or whatever, and I maxed. I can't do that anymore. So to go to somebody's house at this point, I have to be married, right? My wife and I are going to go as a team, and until that time, it's not going to happen. So I'm done doing the whole social scene from world because everyone is married, and I don't relate to these people, right? I don't relate to these people. I only really relate to singles people, and most singles in the frum world are people who are under 25, and those people usually don't have their own sukkah. Instead, what do? They go to their parents' sukkah. So it's not like they usually have their own sukkah, right? So the whole concept of all just hang out with other single people, it doesn't really apply. It's being a single in this religion. It's not a good setup. Judaism only really works for married people. And I would say this to anybody who's seriously considering doing one of two things. If you're seriously considering becoming a Jew, let's say like you were born a non-Jew. Can you relate to this, lady?
Yeah.
I would say to you, someone needs to tell you full disclosure. I believe in full disclosure. Before you make the effort and take the steps and become a Jew, you need to realize when you become a Jew that this is a religion for married people. And if you're not married and you're planning to get married, you need to do it quick. Because if you're not married, this is not going to work long term. Right? Now, getting married is going to be tricky too, because not all converts are just welcomed with open arms by people. Can you imagine that, Levi? Levi, let me ask you a question. If someone given you full disclosure before you converted, oh, bye, Esther. Thanks for staying up so late. We appreciate it. Have a good night. Wave bye to Esther. Yeah, really enthusiastic there, Levi. What am I saying?
Someone had given me full disclosure, would I have converted?
Yes, would you have?
Yes.
Even though that you realize that you may not get married and this religion's not going to work for you.
Well, I believe I am going to get married.
Okay, nothing like optimism.
That even if I don't get married, I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. Good for you. I believe that anybody who's Jewish but isn't from yet and is thinking about making a life of becoming from needs to think about the fact and needs to be cognizant, and someone needs to give them full disclosure of the realities of being from. That if you're from, you need to be married or this religion is going to be extremely difficult. It's a religion that says don't touch women at all until you're married. Oh, you're not married? Ha ha, you're now celibate, and you're not even allowed to touch women.
If you're a doctor, you can touch them.
Oh, yeah, okay, great. So we should also just go to med school, right?
Or you're an Alexander Technique teacher.
Right, yeah. Okay, did you get a heter for that?
I got a head of my hero.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are the things...
From a Major League Grove.
These are the things you need to know before you go down this road. Because I hate to see someone make a decision that's going to affect their entire life, and once they made the decision, there's like no going back. And now you're in a situation that you're completely miserable because you're Jewish, you're from, no one will marry you, and you can't have sex. So there's that, and you don't fit in. Maybe you go to some people's houses, but after a while you're going to get tired of it.
You can have sex if you do it quietly and don't get a reputation for it, and don't talk about it on the internet.
Is that what you're doing? Alright, so that's Sukkot. You got any words on Sukkot?
I'll have some more when we get to the Parshah.
Alright, next subject. I thought we'd do a follow-up. Last week we were talking a little bit about Herman Cain.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I screwed this up. Okay, last week we were talking about Herman Cain a little bit. Oh, Lakewood Rob asked, what's the penalty for being touched by a woman if you're single? Touched by?
Well, if you didn't cause it, there's no punishment.
No, there's no punishment if she touches you.
It's just like if you accidentally eat non-kosher, there's no punishment.
Yeah, if she touches you, there's no problem. If you touch her, it's not really a punishment. It's just, you're not allowed to do it, so, you're going to
If you think you're eating macaroni and it's really a bacon cheeseburger, and you don't realize it's a bacon cheeseburger, there's no punishment. You have to know that you're eating treif.
Right.
For there to be a punishment.
But even if you...
if you fall off a roof and your shorts fly off as you're flying down, and you accidentally land inside a woman, that's accidental. There's no punishment for that.
And that happens to me
Or if you
that happened to me last night.
Or if you're sleepwalking and you're asleep and you accidentally have relations with a woman, there's no penalty if you're asleep.
Okay. Yes, what if you touch her back? It's not a punishment like you're not allowed to touch her, so you have to deal with the fact that you violated.
It separates you from Hashem. It may make you closer to her.
You violated the law.
Think about the gulf that's growing between you and the Master of the universe. And then why would you want to touch her back if it's going to separate you from God?
So you've sinned against God. You transgressed the law. So now you have to deal with the fact that you angered God, and this is like a big demerit. It's on your.
It could lead to forbidden relations.
It goes on your record, on your permanent record, but it can be expunged